right, are we live yet? Let's see.
Meet Chris and Mark.
We should be live now. I hope so. Hello, hello, hello. Hey, what's going on, everybody? How you doing? Yeah, so this Xbox thing is going to start in about 10 minutes, so I just wanted to start getting set up early here. Appreciate everyone hanging out with me. If you're on, want to share this out, social media, let's do this. Let's see what Bethesda is going to talk about. Obviously, I'm not expecting anything too major. They'll just probably just introduce all the different Bethesda studios, probably talk about how they're going to integrate into Xbox, but I'm not expecting Starfield or anything crazy like that. And let's see, I'm gonna and there we go. Tweet that out. There we go. And tweeted it. All right, let's switch the old camera on here so you can see my ugly mug. Should be seeing me now. Hope everybody's doing well. And let's check out, see what this looks like on the old YouTubes. There it is. There it is. So yeah, I'm just waiting for this. It looks like we got about a good 10 minutes here, but I appreciate everyone hanging out. Like I said, share it out to everyone. We can have a nice little pregame discussion on what we're expecting. And I see Nick is already saying, I will bet my dog Starfield isn't exclusive on Game Pass, but $70 on PlayStation 4. I disagree. And here's why. I think they're going to have multiplayer games that will continue to be on PlayStation and Nintendo, but a brand new IP that has zero legacy on PlayStation hardware, I do not think you will ever see it there. I think Starfield will be an Xbox exclusive, and they will be using that to drive people into the Xbox ecosystem and subscribe to Game Pass. I also expect that for things that are going to be far out in the future, like Fallout 5 and Elder Scrolls 6 as well. And what else do we have here? So, hey, yeah, just keep shooting questions. Appreciate it. Super chats, all that are greatly appreciated. And I thank you all for hanging out with me in this. Again, please share this out on social media. Let's just watch it together. We can have an interactive discussion about what's going on. And what is Jay Wiki saying here? Actually, I'll get back to your Starfield question in a second, Jay Wiki. What else do we have? George is saying, are you reviewing the new Xbox headset? Maybe. I'll leave it at that. Maybe I would like to. Let's put it that way. I currently don't. It's not confirmed that I will be. Hopefully, I will be. If not, then hey, I'll go pick it up after I can find it in retail, because I definitely want to check it out. And what else is Reclaimer? Have you been playing Destiny 2? If so, you're liking it. Destiny 2 is phenomenal right now. I think from a story standpoint and everything they're doing with this current season, this is the direction that I've wanted to see Destiny 2 go. And the fact that they're pushing the Witch Queen out to 2022 and using this year to lay the groundwork for the future of Destiny is fantastic. I really like the direction they're going. Back to the Starfield question. He was asking about Starfield. I don't think we're going to hear anything about Starfield today. I think Starfield potentially we could see it this summer. I would imagine at this point it'll either be at an Xbox event or a Bethesda event this summer. We'll probably get to see it. I am not expecting it this holiday, but I do think we'll see it this year, and it'll probably come out in 2022. And someone's asking, what do I expect from this event? Talked about this a second ago. I'm just expecting we're going to get introduced to Bethesda as far as all the 8 studios. Not necessarily, hey, here's Wolfenstein 3 or here's Starfield or anything like that, but kind of get to know the people behind the games, and maybe they'll obviously talk a little more about integration in with Xbox, and I would imagine we'll get some announcements as far as games coming to Game Pass. And Big Fresh, thank you for that super chat. I really appreciate it. And you're asking me, are there any dormant Xbox franchises you think would pair well with the Bethesda studio? How about an immersive sim Shadowrun game from Arcane? I think you hit on a fantastic one. I mean, Arcane is such a great developer, obviously with Dishonored and now Deathloop coming up, and I believe they do Prey as well. Yeah, that would be a great one. Let me get back to you on that question. I have to think about some dormant Xbox IPs that would be great for Bethesda Studios to do. Actually, now that I think about one off the top of my head, I will say again, Cameo, give it to id. Give it to id. Let id do Cameo. I would love to see Cameo come back and see what id could do with that franchise. And then Stuart, do we think we'll see some Game Pass announcements? I do think we'll see that today, for sure. So we'll see. And appreciate you, Arctic. And even though you deleted Arctic, I'm just going to say Drunken Ninja. I smell fantastic because I just took a shower and I smell great. Thank you for that troll comment. I really appreciate it. What else do we have here? MachineGames and Crimson Skies. Absolutely. Would love to see that one. Deathloop, when it comes to Xbox, has to be Game Pass debut, I would assume. I think there could be a loophole with Deathloop in that it could come to Game Pass PC right away, but obviously we'll see how all that works out. But we do know console-wise, I believe it's a 1-year timed exclusive on PlayStation 5, so it'll be a year before we see it come to an Xbox console. And again, thank you to everyone hanging out. It looks like we're about 4 minutes away before they're going to start this, and should be fun. Again, share it out on the social media. Let all the friends know we can hang out, watch this together, make it a little interactive depending on how this goes, and just talk about what we see. And Peter is saying, good to see you, Paris. Hoping it's more than just a formal welcome. Be nice to get some small hype teeth. I'm lowering my expectations on that. Just if it is great, but I'm not going into expecting them doing something like that. I think that's the best way to approach it. Logic Wins, Parents, looks great on my TV. That camera is incredible. Thank you. Yeah, it's a Sony A6400 camera that I'm using. And yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. Fallout 3 New Vegas remaster exclusive to Xbox. I don't think they need to be remade, to be honest with you. I think, hey, give them some quote-unquote Series X optimization love, get them up to 60 frames, and I think you'll be good to go. I would really love to see that for Fallout New Vegas, and even more specifically Fallout 3 especially. And the Buck shirt still hurts. So hey, I'm on cloud 9. Where is it? It's over there. I'm not going to go grab it. A good friend of mine that went to the Super Bowl, he brought me back the program from the Super Bowl and a Super Bowl hat and some other stuff. So, hey, I'm living the dream as far as that goes, man. Got to embrace it. Yeah, exactly, Alex. I would even say Fallout 3, but yeah, even Fallout 4, 4K 60 frames. I mean, that's what you want, right? So hopefully we can hear some stuff about that. Looks like we're 3 minutes away before they go live with this thing, the premiere. So should be here soon in a second. And how you doing? Someone took my sandwich. Yeah, I'm good. Glad. Thank you all for hanging out with me on this. And Steve, what's going on, man? How you doing, man? Good to see you here. I'm actually surprised you're not live streaming this too, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Eagles fan, we will be watching the back. Yeah, me too. You got to do it now, right? You got to watch the background to see what little secrets you might see in there. And Nick, thank you for the super chat, and congrats on calling an announcement this week on Gamertag Radio when you or Danny are going to start. When you or Danny going to start streaming again? Well, we stream podcasts every Sunday, so that, and Danny's been doing a lot of game streaming recently, so absolutely make sure to check out Gamertag Radio Twitch channel for that stuff. And someone took my sandwich. Gamertag Radio, I have a Twitch account, like my own personal one, but basically if I ever stream on Twitch, it'll be under Gamertag Radio, so absolutely subscribe to the Gamertag Radio stream over there. We're partner over on Twitch. Oh, thank you for the love. I'm just reading all the comments. I appreciate all the kind words. I really do. Thank you. Really appreciate that. And looks like we're 1 minute away, so this should be coming up here in just a second. Ah, Steve. Yeah, hey, I hear you with that. Right on. Keep doing your thing, man. Xbox is the king of the Western RPGs now. They very well could be. I mean, this is the whole point of you going to go get Bethesda. This is what Bethesda does. So now they're going to have the opportunity to do that. Obviously with Elder Scrolls, obviously with Fallout. Then you even look from the Obsidian point of view. The Outer Worlds DLC is coming out now. We know they're working on Avowed. So there's going to be some good RPG stuff coming out of Xbox here. And Fable too. Can't forget that. All right. So looks like it is 10. And I'm just waiting for this premiere to start. So, and there we go. Let me know about the sound on that. Hope it's not too loud. I'm going to switch this over in just a second. Let's switch this over. How's the sound on that? Let me know. Very loud. Yes, these are Astro 850s. How about sound check on that? Let me know. It's a wee bit loud. Is that better? Is that good? Okay, good. Just let me know on the sound. Like we said, yeah, we'll just watch this together, see what we see, and I'll try and not talk too much, but throw my comments in there when I can. And how about my voice compared to the sound? Let me know. The official stream is over on the Xbox channel on YouTube. Is that perfect? Are we good? We Gucci? Am I still a little low? I'm trying to get it out with 30 seconds to go. All right, sounds like we're good. All right, sounds like we're good. Voice is perfect. I'm gonna go with the all good. Voice is quiet. It's all good. It's back and forth. All right. Yeah, let's see once the premiere cuts over, and I might tune it if it's still a little overbearing with the audio. But here we go. It's coming now, and we'll watch.
Here's to the journey.
All right, this is the trailer that we already saw. So let me know sound-wise. Are we still good on the sound? Because it is a little lower. So just let me know.
Of discoveries. We found each other through a shared passion for games. More than just a company, a family.
Okay, perfect.
With an unwavering belief in people and what we could make together. For the last 35 years, we've grown. From a small basement in Maryland to studios and offices around the world. Together, we brought our dreams to life. Worlds that inspire creativity and chaos. Worlds where players are free to leave their own mark. From snow-covered peaks to the fiery depths of hell. To post-apocalyptic wastelands and beyond.
proper QA and polish on these things at launch.
So here's to the games we've made and to the games we'll make tomorrow.
Yeah, I would hold my expectations in check.
Here's to staying true to the vision that inspired it all.
Will definitely be more of a marketing pitch
A legacy
for this, but let's
with
watch
love,
and see.
Respect, and a dedication to excellence. And here's to you for being there with us through it all.
Merci beaucoup.
A new chapter has begun. Here's to the journey, just getting started.
Yeah, don't expect Starfield. I'm not.
Hi everyone, this is Aaron Greenberg, the head of games marketing at Xbox.
Of course he is.
We are here at the headquarters of Bethesda in Maryland. It is a truly special day, and we wanted to take you behind the scenes to hear from the creators, hear from the team members about what it means for Bethesda to join Xbox in this roundtable. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to the head of marketing and PR at Bethesda. You know him, Pete Hines.
Good to see you, sir. Thanks for coming out to see us.
Good to be here.
Thank all of you for joining us. I want to start by introducing our colleague who could make the trip out here, but is going to be joining us on the roundtable today, and that would be Bond, Sarah Bond, joining us all the way from the other side, head of partnerships at Xbox. That was pretty good. You have to introduce
They
yourself.
filmed this last week, by the way, because Aaron Greenberg went
Good
on
to
a
see
secret
you. Thanks
trip,
for
and this
joining
is
us.
what it was.
To my right here, we have two Aarons. We decided to stick all of our Aarons over on this side of the room to make it really easy to keep track. In addition to Aaron Greenberg, we've got Aaron Losi, our Vice President of Global Marketing and Communications. This gentleman needs no introduction. All of you should know who he is. Phil Spencer. Thank you for coming out to see us, Phil.
Thanks for having us. Excited.
And speaking of people who need no introduction, legendary game developer and my good friend Todd Howard from Bethesda Games.
It's great to see you in person.
You're doing exactly what I said they should do on
call?
XCast.
Like
This
a
is
year
hilarious.
ago that we got
Look at that.
to
He's already doing Microsoft ads.
Definitely not.
Good plug.
Zoom.
Good plug.
Check.
Are we getting royalties on those plugs?
Get it all
Phil?
in.
How does this work?
You can see you've had the second dose of the Kool-Aid. That's good.
So as Aaron said, we're here today to talk about this amazing partnership of Bethesda and Xbox coming together. And I want to start, Phil, with you, because you're the one who made all of this happen and had the vision for what this might be. And I wonder if you could start by sort of giving us your own words on how did this all come about?
Yeah, what an exciting time for our fans. I see it in the community. I see it in the industry. People want to know what's going to come. We're bringing all of these creative teams together. We know it, gamers play games, and we knew our focus on our first party and our ability to build great games for Xbox fans was critically important to not only where we are, but where we're going. And the conversation with you and the team here over the years have been instrumental to what we've done to date. So the opportunity to strengthen that relationship even further, starting now, will just be awesome.
I mean, we're finally here. Like, I feel like we've been building towards this day forever.
You know, we get that because we got a lot of questions, all of us, over the months about, well, what are you going to do here? What are you going to do here? And we said it a couple times, but I'm not sure everybody heard it.
They didn't believe us, Phil.
We weren't able, there was no decision-making going on between the organizations. You guys have been running as Bethesda for all this time. We've been, which, like you said, seems like it's been a long time. We've been running as Xbox, so now we can actually start to sit down and really build our plans together. And that, I can't wait.
This is day
awesome.
one. I mean,
yeah.
But it is fun to see. People just can't believe it's real. Even the official announce, like seeing fans retweet, I still can't believe this is real. And the excitement of what this means for gamers, what this means for dev teams, like,
Uh-oh.
you know, for us, like we could not be more excited. We've worked with you guys for years. We've been fans for years, but now, like, we're family, and that's a really exciting thing.
First of all, it's just incredible to be sitting next to you in person after so many months of team calls and getting to know each other. So thank you for both taking the time to come out and join us here in Rockville. Todd, as someone who's been here since almost the beginning, I'd love your perspective on what this means to you.
It's a lot of emotions, a lot of excitement. It's, you know, also, it's just surreal. I have to be honest. Like, even if it wasn't COVID and we're doing all of this, just this moment in our company's history would be surreal for myself and everybody who's been here for a very long time. You know, our company's had a lot of chapters, but when I think about it, each of those is marked by or doing that with many of the folks at Xbox through every generation of consoles and technology. And when we sort of thought about what the future would bring, the games that we want to create, you know, Phil is someone I'm always calling and bouncing things off of. And as we talked, it became clearer and clearer that this kind of partnership was where we wanted to go with all of the games we were doing.
Well, speaking of partnership,
oh my God! Phil Spencer just responded to me on Twitter.
Sarah, this is something
they heard me talking about this on Xcast, and they got a good laugh because this is exactly what they were going to do.
How this process evolved, and the idea of, hey, you know, Bethesda joining Xbox, becoming part of the same team. What were your thoughts when you first started hearing about it?
You know, in a lot of ways, it was very similar to what Todd just said. You know, always from the beginning, whenever we were thinking about our plans or our vision for gaming or what we wanted to do next, you guys were the first people we called. Like, we would run things by you. We would have really great discussions about the vision for gaming, the future of Xbox. And in a lot of ways, it was something we formed together.
That's hilarious.
And one of the things we did out of that, right, is you guys were early supporters of Game Pass, and you worked with us.
Very glad to see Sarah Bond
we got to just see together the incredible value it creates for both players and creators.
And
that really was the natural evolution. It created the opportunity for this awesome partnership and for us to come together, be on one team. And so just how you say you think of the future of gaming, and you didn't see a future of gaming without Xbox. We just didn't see a future for Xbox without Bethesda.
Now, we know you all have a lot of questions. We've gotten a lot of questions since we announced this deal. But one of the biggest ones, Phil, is this question about exclusivity and how you think about that and how that's going to work with Bethesda.
Yeah, I see it. I see it in the community. I listen to the podcasts and all the questions. So I'm going to try to be as clear as I can because that's what I just think it's fair. So obviously, I can't sit here and say every Bethesda game is exclusive because we know that's not true. There's contractual obligations.
Okay, here we go.
That we're going to see through, as we always do in every one of these instances. We have games that exist on other platforms, and we're going to go support those games on the platforms they're on. There's communities of players. We love those communities, and we'll continue to invest in them. And even in the future, there might be things that have either contractual things or legacy on different platforms that we'll go do. But if we're an Xbox customer, the thing I want you to know is this is about delivering great exclusive games for you that ship on platforms where Game Pass exists. And that's our goal. That's why we're doing this. That's the root of this partnership that we're building. And the creative capability we will be able to bring to market for our Xbox customers is going to be the best it's ever been for Xbox after we're done here.
Okay, Sarah, so Phil was just talking about Game Pass and how important that is to Xbox. You're obviously heavily involved in Game Pass. Talk to us a little bit about what folks can expect here in the near future.
Well, we're just getting started, right? But as part of that, one of the things that we're excited about is starting tomorrow, 20 games from Bethesda are actually going to be available in Game Pass, which is just awesome and represents just the beginning of the collaboration across our team.
Finally.
So we're actually going to be posting this in social. People can go check it out. All the games are going to be available, and it's just the beginning of some great things to come.
And to be clear, that's across all of our studios. We've got 8 studios around the world. Every kind of game you could imagine, RPGs, first-person shooters, no matter what you're into, you need to check Game Pass tomorrow because, man, there's an awful lot of content going in there. And I think folks are going to love it.
You think about the future there. I think people don't appreciate, consumers see Game Pass as like, just give me games.
I was right.
I have lots of games. But then as a creator, it really unlocks some things that maybe you wanted to do or will this find an audience. There's certain types of games that maybe in the past could kind of get lost sometimes. And having that kind of avenue to make a game and release a game opens up so many things, a lot of things that our company and all our studios, they really, really love to do. From the creator side, it's also just, awesome.
Well, I have a coworker that literally has gone on and on with me about Fallout 76 and saying I went in and started playing Fallout 76 and when it came into Game Pass, and I've been thrilled with the community and just like how supportive it is, and it's like arguably one of the healthiest gaming communities out there, especially for new players, and that's been a great benefit to hopefully having more players in that community.
It really is, and 76, while you mention it, is something where it's another sort of point in my mind with our relationship where when that game launched, the litany of issues we had, and we let a lot of people down. And, well, there was very little we didn't screw up, honestly. And one of the people that I called was Phil. And I said, hey, there's so many things we're dealing with. What advice do you have? And he put me in touch with some people at Xbox who are able to look at all of the games in the system and what was important and what wasn't important to the other games that made it for the long haul. And that kind of advice really, really helped us. And now, seeing 76 be one of the most played games on Xbox, we're just, incredibly fortunate to be there.
Yeah, Game Pass allows creative freedom, and that we have seen that with all of the creators that we've worked with Game Pass across the ecosystem. It's one of the things I think is most beautiful about it, is it actually gives you access to an audience that you may not have otherwise been able to reach. It's helped games that people may have never discovered actually get played, and it's actually empowering creativity. And I just think that that's a cool thing, and it was cool to hear Todd say it too.
So, Los, obviously games is a big part of what we do here and how we interact with our fans. But I think the way that Bethesda chooses to approach how we talk to our fans, how we interact with our fans, is a big part of who we are, which you've obviously been a huge part of since you've been here. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think it's about dialogue, right? It's about a two-way conversation with our fans, and we never want them to feel like we're talking at them, because that does nothing for them and it does nothing for us. So, as we host events, whether they're digital or in person, it's about the whole experience. Who do they get to talk to? Who do we get to talk to? It's not about just, churning a certain number of people through a kiosk to put their hands on a game. I mean, that's obviously an important part of it, but I think we look at it as the people are just as important as the games. And, having the opportunity to work with you, Aaron, over the last few months and planning, it's just so refreshing to see how aligned we are in our approach to treating fans.
I agree. I'd just love to say, it's been incredible to see your obsession with fans and how much you kind of start there about putting yourself in the eyes of the gamer and how they'll react to things and how you've shaped things, how you've thought about things, and how you've not been shy about telling us, less of this, more of that.
I have not been shy at all.
It makes us better.
I think we had a little fight over email in our first 2 days. No, it was. We tell it how it is. I think authenticity is a big part of who we are too.
Aaron.
I won. I definitely won.
Todd, I wanted you to talk a little bit about something that you preached a lot when I first got here in '99, which is a willingness to throw stuff out and start all over again. You sort of champion this idea that you can't be beholden to any feature that's in your game before. And when you hear Phil talk about how rapidly things change in this industry, I think a lot of what we do as Bethesda comes from you in terms of your approach to development and being willing to try new things to push boundaries.
Yeah, one of our mottos in the studio, and it became in the company for a while, is great games are played, not made. You can have the best design, this is a genius idea, but you never know how it's going to feel. Like that, what makes something fun in your hands. And when we think about the future of games and our ability to make them,
don't expect any major
doing this
here.
together and this kind of partnership, it's going to sound cliche, like they believe it or don't believe it, but we have a firm belief that we're going to make the best games we could possibly make by doing this. So whereas I think it's great to have all of these games under one umbrella, what does that mean at the end of the day to the games you're looking at? It's, for us, they're going to be even better than the way we were going to be doing them. And that's the ability to tap into everything at Xbox,
I just got the PR release about
to tap
all the
into
Bethesda
everything
games
that
on
we've
Game
done in the
Pass.
past and solve those problems really together.
And something I want to build on there, our aspiration is to have literally billions of people experience the great games that
this is what I've been
both
saying.
our teams build and our partners. And through the power of our console and PC and xCloud and that continued growth that we have, my aspiration, my goal, my hope is that the next games that come out of Bethesda will be the most played games in the history of the studios organization. It's, it is about reaching more players, as you say. It's about games that are played and finding those players wherever they are as we continue to expand the great capability of gaming to more and more people. That I think is just that's going to be so fun to watch as people around the planet get more and more ability to experience the things that Bethesda is capable of building.
Hey, Sarah, so when Phil starts talking about this ecosystem and widening the number of people that are able to play games like ours, obviously as somebody who's in charge of partnerships, that's a pretty giant undertaking in terms of the number of people that you're now dealing with. What does Bethesda being part of Xbox now do for you in terms of the partnerships that you're making and how you're able to grow Xbox beyond its current boundaries to something much bigger and broader?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like this fundamental acceleration to our vision, like the ability to actually make it possible for someone to play Bethesda games, on any device, if it's PC, if it's console, but also a mobile device or any other type of smart screen in the future is just incredible. And, partners look at you guys partnering with us and they feel even more passionate about that vision. And so it dramatically accelerates our ability to just reach players around the world.
Can I jump on that a second? Yeah. Like for us, our old games, seeing them get out there, used to worry that unlike movies or other forms of entertainment, gaming has this technology barrier where can I experience the old ones? And I think gamers, I hope they appreciate, but they don't appreciate much the technical marvel that the backwards compatibility is on the systems. The fact that you can load up Oblivion, first game Aaron and Losi and I worked on together, and run it in 4K on your Xbox now, and that's on Game. For a creator to have that still have life is just awesome.
That's great.
And the teams are already working on adding FPS boost to a number of those titles too, which we're going to announce soon. Not today, but soon. But that's right.
Here it is.
Without having to touch the code, you can basically take backward compatible games, take full advantage of the new hardware, and get things like FPS boost is just another win for gamers.
Okay, so we did say that we were going to be light on news. This is not a news event, but we talked about Game Pass, and folks are going to want to know, hey, when are we going to get some information on what you all are doing together now that you're starting? So, Los, Screeny, what can they expect?
Well, one, I want to get through today first before we start planning.
That's an admirable goal. I like it.
We've been having lots of discussions.
We are deep in planning mode, and it's been awesome because even as we've talked about, we think about content, we think about how we produce things, we actually use a lot of the same teams. We think about stuff in the same ways. So even the process of, people don't realize, but when you go put, historically it was like the E3, event or whatever, you put on a show, you do a digital thing, people don't realize that takes months and months of preparation. And so we are in that planning phase. We are looking at content, we are thinking about content. So now that we are officially one team, this is sort of the opportunity now for us to move at even more accelerated pace. But it's been fun.
Aaron, Greeny's dancing. He's not giving an answer. What's the
We'll
answer?
have something this summer.
This summer. Thank you, Losi. Perfect. Thank you. Okay, you heard it from Losi. You're going to hear this summer. We're going to take a look.
Summer officially ends when? They just want to give us
whenever.
some room.
It's all over the globe.
All right.
So we're going to let Sarah and Todd get back to work, and we're going to be joined by Matt Booty, head of Xbox Game Studios, and Todd Vaughn, our senior vice president of development, right after this community spotlight.
All right. So far, this is pretty much what I expected it to be. Get the key people in there in the round table,
our fans
lay out
are the most important
expectations,
aspect
now
of
go
our
spotlight
games.
the teams at Bethesda. So
This is their world. We
This is what I
created it,
expected.
but it's their world.
And like I said, this summer we'll get the Starfield.
It is pretty amazing to have a community that's been around for this long.
Here's a little show of the armor. It's very heavy.
This community is full of so many passionate people.
Oh, yeah.
There are people who love the games that we love, so they're very important to us.
The community inspires us to push ourselves even more.
They're not just players, they kind of become your friends and they become a part of your life.
I'll talk over this a little bit.
Each time we make a new
Phil
game,
said, all that
they're
makes
there,
sense.
ready
Anything
to
that
jump into
was
these
already
worlds,
an existing
experience them with
contract
us.
with Bethesda, they're going to honor
They're a
it.
family
They're not
in a
going to
way,
rip
and
away
this
Fallout
becomes
76
the
and all this
Bethesda
stuff.
family, and
But moving
that's trying
forward,
to be a
it's
part of it.
pretty much what I said. Spend $7.5 billion cannot be disrupted. And that's what they're going to do. And I think that is just realistic to expect. So it was good to hear that.
Welcome back. So that was a look at some of the amazing fans and their creations around our games and studios. And what a great segue, because games and studios is what we're here to talk about.
Yeah, Wolfenstein's on Game Pass now.
Washington is
Guess what
the
I'm
head
gonna
of
go play
Xbox
this
Game
weekend.
Studios, Matt Booty. Matt, welcome.
Hi, Pete. How are you?
Good. Matt, for folks who may not be familiar with you, tell them a little bit about what you do, your career, how you got to Xbox. Tell us about Matt Booty.
Well, I've got the great privilege of working with all our teams across Xbox Game Studios, all the teams, all the studios, all the great people.
coming up on 11 years here at Xbox, working with the team and working with Phil, and had the good fortune to work on things like bringing Mojang into Xbox and also many of the studios that we've added over the last 5 to 6 years.
Sorry, that studio, you said Mojang? It sounds familiar. Did they make anything? Oh, the Minecraft guys, right.
Small team.
Yeah, maybe Minecraft.
Just
maybe
a little
you've heard
thing.
of it.
Just a little thing like Mojang. And Phil was mentioning that you're kind of the Katamari of studios, that basically you've added how many studios now to Xbox Game Studios? 6?
Yeah, well, we've grown quite a bit. We're at 15 now, so we've added 7 over the last few years.
7. That's
more than double.
That's one of many nicknames Phil's got for me.
That's the only one I was told I was allowed to use during this, so we'll go with that one. Well, Matt, thank you so much for joining us. Great to have you here. And also with us is my longtime friend, the man who's responsible for me being at Bethesda. Todd Vaughn recruited me to Bethesda back in 1999, our Senior Vice President of Development, Todd Vaughn. TV, I view you as the biggest unknown secret in this industry. You're
supposedly this event is going to be 1 hour.
And I want you to explain to folks who you are, when you got here, your background.
I actually started in the games industry with PC Gamer magazine.
Mm-hmm.
This was in the 90s. And I got recruited to join then Bethesda before ZeniMax. It was just right before. And I joined Bethesda to basically, scout games and to be a biz dev to help on the publishing side of the business. And it's one of those phenomenon where, once you get the fish, you got to clean them, and you start going down that path. And I ended up being a lot more involved in the production and the development. And as ZeniMax was forming, Robert came in and started ZeniMax and had a mission and an agenda. And right out of the gate, the first part of that mission was to really set up our internal team, Bethesda Game Studios, and put them on a path for success.
Matt, I want to ask you, when you look at the kind of studios that Bethesda has and the kind of games that we make, what is it about what we do that resonates with you and that makes you feel like it's such a good partnership? And we've been sitting here talking about what a great partnership it is. But from your perspective, head of development, you get to work with all of these studios. How do you see all of those things combining together in sort of a common DNA?
If you look at some of the commonalities of all the studios that we've acquired over the last few years, I think the thing that stands out is that so many of them are creator-led. The founders are game designers, the founders are game creators, and most of the culture flows down from that creative aspect, from that game design aspect. I think Todd Howard said it earlier, games aren't made, they're played, right? And I think that resonates with most of our studios. As we've been having sort of get to meet you calls and spending more time with all of the Bethesda studios, it really has stood out that that's the same for your studios, that they are creator-led, they're design-led, and they also have such a focus on the players and bringing the players into that design process, making sure that once a game is out there, even that as it evolves and as it grows community, with community being such an important part of what we do these days, I think that's another real similarity, that we've just got a real fan focus, a real player focus, and that connects all the way back up to the top, where all of our studios really start first with the creator, the designer, and the game idea.
I think as part of that, Matt, a lot of people don't realize it, but you've set up this structure as you've added Ninja Theory or Obsidian or NXR, all these different teams, like to allow them to have almost like stay in a bubble, so they still have that ability to go create what they want to make. Like, we don't tell them what games to make. But how would you describe that environment and how you've learned from the Mojang piece? And then how will that apply as we think about integrating the Bethesda teams into our first party, Xbox teams? How do you kind of think about that and how that makes better games?
I think back to the Minecraft Mojang days. I think we were just a few days into it, and our CEO, Satya Nadella, said something, I think it was in an email. He said, we have as much to learn from them as they have to learn from us. And that always has stuck with me, that our job isn't to come in and sort of force a culture on them. Games, I like to think about, it's almost like a greenhouse, right? The environment in which they're designed is so important, is so critical. And the last thing that we want to do is upset that. So there's very much a keep your ears open, keep your eyes open.
Yeah,
what do we have to learn?
No, I hear
this
you on
group of
that.
people
Hey,
that have
this
been
is going to be a
making
lot of
games
marketing
for 5,
speak. This is
10,
going to be a lot of
15,
PR
20
stuff.
years.
But
there's obviously
it's
a
good
lot
to pick
learn
up
there.
on the important
We were
nuggets
talking
that will come
yesterday,
in
TV,
between all that
and
talk
Pete and I about
what the future
synergies
plans are
between
going to be.
studios, and I obviously, having worked here for a long time, know about a lot of
But
them.
thank you to everyone
but
that's been
he was
hanging
even
out
bringing
during
up
this
stuff that I
and
didn't
hanging
know
in there for
about,
that.
you know,
Really
collaborating
appreciate it.
and learning from one another. And TV, I was
I am
hoping
an
you could
Xbox
just
show,
share
allegedly,
how
right?
we operate
I love when people come
shared
in with the
tech
salty
and
comments. It's
ideas,
hilarious.
because I think it's pretty interesting.
It frankly has evolved organically. I think that idea of sort of like central planning and everybody being given or provided directly from central sources isn't quite the right approach, especially as how we've grown. We grew organically. We added teams over time. They came in with different bits of knowledge that we really didn't know that some groups had and some groups didn't. So we had to kind of figure things out as we went, and it led to sort of a lot of little happy surprises and collaborations that, frankly, you wouldn't plan for. There's some little known facts of like teams who've worked on other projects. MachineGames is probably one of our most successful teams from a collaboration standpoint. They've probably worked on everything.
Pretty much at this point, yeah.
Even before, I think it was probably either right before or when we were acquiring MachineGames, they were already working on Skyrim.
Of course, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Yeah, fantastic team. There's an enemy that's in Doom 2016 that Tango made that I don't think anybody realizes.
Including Losi and I.
Yeah, that's the one that I was like, wait, what?
Yeah,
I thought I knew everything.
And a lot of our secrets that we have, like, so oftentimes it's like, if people have some downtime, some cycles, they'll want to participate or collaborate, and we share them evenly, across teams, and allow them to do that directly. Then we have the more, obvious ones like Arcane Leon and MachineGames collaborated on Youngblood. It's a lot of collaboration.
And I think it largely
I'll interrupt
stems
to
from
say
them.
this
They're
since
just
I know
fans
people
of one
are being
another's work,
tongue-in-cheek with the
right?
Xbox
Like it's
share
not
stuff.
that
Xbox
you
doesn't
have
pay
said,
me
okay, I
anything,
need
same
you
as
to go over
PlayStation
here,
doesn't
over
pay me
here.
anything, same as
We'll hear
Nintendo doesn't
from
pay
a
me
lot of those
anything,
studio heads
same
later
as no one
today, and I
except
think
Kind of
that you'll-
Funny
you'll
is
see
probably
that
the
and
only
hear
person
that in
that
your
actually
own
pays
words
me
about,
anything.
really
Love gaming.
admiring one
I like
another's
to
work,
talk
and it
about
does feel
everything.
like a family.
Obviously, the
Well,
Xbox
one of the
news
unique
is
things
really
we do
important
that,
right
that
now,
most
so it's
folks
been a
don't
big
know
focus
about,
of a lot of
Aaron, I wonder if
commentary.
you want
And
to
obviously, I'm an
tell folks about
Xbox
is like what we do at the
centric
Midwinter
show.
meeting,
But other than
and
that, I
that
just love
every
gaming.
developer
I think all the
and how they
shield
present
talk
that
is
that's just not something that
silliness.
happens.
People
Talk a little bit
love
about.
to
Yeah, I mean,
gatekeep the things that they love,
the most
but
special
really
time of year,
just enjoy
and that
gaming. That's all I
might
can
sound
say.
cheesy, but it's true. I mean, everyone that works at Bethesda is so passionate. Like, what better week could you spend than checking out really early looks at all the wonderful things that the creators are making? So it's not just taking a look at what each other is doing. It's meeting, the teams meeting with one another and sharing stories and techniques, and it's
or getting super excited for each other's projects. You
Yeah.
know, the folks at Arcane start freaking out when they see, the next MachineGames title, or they all get to see Doom Eternal for the first time, when it's been in development for 6 months, but it's still really
and
fun.
we use it in marketing too, to look at things and say, what's resonating in as we, summer shows take many months of planning, so we always use that as well as kind of a first litmus test. Like, well, let's let everyone in the company see it first and give feedback.
Old school, man.
I love that.
dialogue.
It's like you're making a recipe and there's like a head chef, but you've included everyone in the kitchen to kind of contribute and taste and contribute. And
Lots of people in the kitchen.
yeah, the Midwinter thing is great. So I will tell you, Matt does something very similar with his teams. And I love the name of this meeting, Matt. Can you talk about the best meeting and like what that is about? Because I will tell you, that is my absolute favorite meeting. And I just like the collaboration and what comes out of that and the spirit of that is something really special.
Yeah, I think BEST actually stood for something. We used to call them quarterly reviews, but it turns out that we weren't reviewing and they weren't happening quarterly. So we decided.
But it was a
to
great
call
name
them something
otherwise,
else.
other than it having
Yeah,
nothing to do with the meeting. It was
for
great.
me, they really are the best meeting because all we do for an entire morning is review work in progress, a lot like Aaron was just talking about. So everybody brings the latest that they've got. We kind of cycle through all the studios. Sometimes it might be early concept work. Sometimes it's actually playable material. And it's just a great chance for everybody to get feedback. You know,
Starfield,
hearing about the
that is
Midwinter
game
meeting,
I'm most looking forward
I think
to
it was
coming out of Bethesda
November
because it's
2019 before we
After that would be
stopped
Wolfenstein
being able
3.
to travel. But we had all of our studio heads together. And I remember just walking into that room thinking, wow, this represents, I think, something like 300 years of combined experience running studios, working on games together. So it's really exciting when you get that sort of critical mass together of creatives. And I think it's gonna be pretty fantastic when we figure out how, for the first time, we can get all of our studio heads as Xbox and Bethesda together. And, you know, whether that's the best Midwinter meeting or the Midwinter best.
This is what I've been saying since September.
It'll be fun when we can just get everybody together in one place.
And, a major
as you say, kind of get
publisher.
that creative synergy going.
You know, as I listened to Matt talk about this previously, about sort of sparking that enthusiasm, that passion, that, you know, that 300 years worth of experience that those studio heads have, that you are looking to bring together these folks who have a passion and then give them tools and resources, not just, hey, why don't you two make a game together, but, you know, TV, we've talked about studios going to each other for, hey, I want my guns to feel more like they do in the id game, or we're working on some new feature in our game that's new to us, kind of like Greenie was just talking about. That is a big part of.
It's absolutely a big part, and even to the point of the Midwinter meetings, you know, it's as much as it is an ability to kind of show what we're working on and, you know, show the progress to the company and be excited by that. It's also kind of like a mini GDC, a game developers conference, where you can actually get from, you know, world, you know, recognized, you know, experts on a topic. And so we'll have little breakout sessions and meetings and summits. And, you know, we've also looked to expand those throughout the year because it is a phenomenal resource. We have some incredible talent.
Yeah, Eagles,
you know,
that's a great way to say it. They bought an entire E3 showcase.
You know, engine and rendering technology. And, you know, let's put some of that to use.
Yeah, and they get to see it, and they start asking questions, emailing other programmers, like, how in the hell did you do that? We've been trying to do that forever. And so, I mean, I think that kind of stuff is exactly what we're looking for here when we talk about
getting great games.
What this partnership
this
might
is what
look
this
like.
conversation
It's not
is about
formally
right now.
and saying,
the
we now want you
collaboration of
to
some
work
of the
with them
smartest
on
people
this.
on the planet.
It is just simply putting people in front of each other who might be trying something they've never done in a game, or, you know, trying to come up with a new way to do something that they haven't before. That's really where you find that magic.
And we don't put barriers up to prevent it, right? That's really the magic. It's like we want to create the connection so that people can find it and build those relationships, because they last and they're durable and they'll stay for a long time.
Well, and I think all of this, Phil, goes back to something that Matt said before, which I loved, which is Satya's email saying we have as much to learn from them as they do to us. And honestly, like that. Yeah. That mentality that he brings and that you brings, I think, is what excites all of us, because you all are so willing to embrace that and say, look, you don't have to have every answer. You don't have to have it all figured out. Let's just talk and see if there's opportunities here. Okay, we're going to stop there. Todd and Matt, thank you both so much for taking time out of your busy schedules to come on and talk to us a little bit. I know you have a lot of studios and games to go work with, so we'll let you go. As we start to introduce you to more of our family and all the different studios and games that Bethesda has and is bringing to the table, Los, you've been with me forever. You've worked with all of these studios. Where do we start?
I'd like to start from just about the beginning, a studio that I've had a privilege to work with for many, many years now. And those are the men and women at ZeniMax Online Studios, the creators of The Elder Scrolls Online.
A fantastic MMO. If you haven't played it, you're missing out. It's a massive world, a ton of content. You're an ESO player.
I am, and I'm always blown away by how big the world is. Like, as a player, and that's kind of my only association with it, other than just seeing how amazing it's doing on Game Pass right now. But like the amount of diversity in that world, I love playing. Great community. The players are so helpful. People like helping me get through, leveling up my characters. Fantastic game. Can't wait to hear more from the team.
Absolutely. It's been a huge success, amazing community, and let's hear more from the folks at ZeniMax Online right now.
Hey, I'm Matt Fyror, Studio Director at ZeniMax Online Studios, or ZOS as we call it. Short history lesson. Back in 2007, ZOS was the first new studio
Josh,
at Bethesda,
I do
making
think
us the test case
when they're
for Bethesda
legally
being
allowed
more
with
than just a
whatever
one-studio
contracts,
publisher.
you will see the entire
And unlike
Bethesda
the others
back
who came
catalog
later,
on Game
we were
Pass.
built
It's
from
gonna
the
happen.
ground up
That's
with
the
a
whole, they
specific
own them now.
goal
Why
of creating
wouldn't they?
massive online games. The first of which was to be set in the Elder Scrolls world. Back in the day, as a fellow DC area game developer, I knew Todd Howard and some others at Bethesda, so when I started at the company, we had a relationship to build on. And that grew stronger after spending my first few months with the Bethesda team, working with Todd and Todd Vaughn to lay out the Elder Scrolls Online world. Everything from picking the setting and timelines of the game to creating factions and determining storylines. This spirit of close collaboration stuck with me as I built ZOS. In fact, several people from BGS joined ZOS, including Rich Lambert, who's now creative director.
Again, it's like I was saying before.
The
I'll just talk over
relationships
this
built
a
with
little
headquarters
bit.
and BGS helped shape the kind of relationships
Bethesda deal's
we were
done.
creating internally
They
as a studio
them
grew.
take the
We share a
exclusivity
focus on
nonsense out of it.
studio-driven
Yes, that is
creativity,
going to be a
which
part of it.
comes
Phil
from the
Spencer
very top.
clearly,
And while we
laid
evolved
that out to
separately,
you
we
earlier.
always maintained that mutual
But
trust
the fact
with
that
BGS,
Bethesda
with
now
headquarters,
doesn't
and
have
later
to
with
worry
the
about
other
all the
studios
financial
in the
BS,
extended Bethesda
they
family.
get to just
In
collaborate,
fact,
innovate,
we pitched in and helped
make kick-ass
BGS with
games.
Fallout
That's the whole
76 and
point.
id
The
with
fact
Doom
that Microsoft
2016.
is just saying,
But the
you
most
keep
important
being
shared
you,
cultural
we'll
element that
handle
made
all
us
the
so
paperwork.
successful has
You
always
just
been our
worry
core
about
belief
making
in
great
ourselves
games. That's
that
what
came
should be
directly
exciting
from
to
Robert
everyone.
Altman.
Right?
An example.
Not to mention,
It's no secret
stuff's
that
gonna be
ESO
on Game
stumbled
Pass.
when
It's
it
gonna be
launched
on
in the
PC.
beginning, but
Streaming
Robert
on
didn't lose
xCloud,
faith in it.
obviously on Xbox hardware.
You guys are smart, he said.
You can argue about
it didn't go the
exclusives
way
all
you
you
wanted,
want,
so
but
now you fix it.
I'm looking at
And we did fix
major
it. And some of you
IPs
might
coming out
not
of
know
Bethesda,
just how
day
successful
one,
we've become.
QA'd,
We're one of the
polished,
most
and being the
successful
best games
virtual
they can
world
possibly
fantasy
be,
games.
and they don't have to
period.
worry
Over
about
18
rushing
million
to get a game
users
to market
logging in from
to meet
all
some
over the
deadline.
world.
Now they can
3
take their
million
time
new
and make
residents of
great games.
Tamriel in just
That's what we
2020
should be
alone.
excited about.
ESO is huge. Thousands of quests and so much content, it's impossible to count the hours. Obviously, the credit to this success goes to the amazing and growing team at ZOS. But it was all made possible because Robert gave us the opportunity to realize our vision and then build, refine, and adjust as needed. It wasn't always pretty, and it definitely wasn't easy. But through it all, his
is it
belief
too
in
loud with
us
my
and the
audio?
promise of what we could deliver
I can
made
lower
us
it.
who we are today. And that extends to our future
should help.
titles already in development. Everyone at ZOS is looking forward to being part of the Xbox family. Our friends there have already told us how they're such huge fans of ZOS, not just in the games we're making, but the people too. We can't wait to show you what's next when the time is right.
Wow, I love that. I mean, it's so great to hear directly from the creator and to think what they've achieved in 7 years, right? And today they're the #1 multi-plat online role-playing game in the world. And we've seen it grow on Xbox, but when it went into Game Pass, it's just found a whole new audience.
It's been a terrific journey, and again, that community there, that that Phil referenced and Matt Fire referenced is an amazing support system. If you feel like you're ready to make the leap, they're ready to help you and have a great time. All right, so Losi said that was a homegrown sort of internal studio that we started after Bethesda Game Studios. As TB mentioned before, the first acquisition we ever made was the creators of the first-person shooter genre in id Software. Doom, Quake, I mean, it's unbelievable. Even
God tier. I mean, let's be honest.
They are best of the best.
First shooter I ever played on a PC, like on a floppy disk. Like how they got 3D graphics working back in the day. I mean, it's just, and how they've taken that and modernized it. The reboot in 2016, Doom Eternal winning, so many Game of the Year awards. It's just incredible, the legacy that they've had. And I tell you, there's a lot of Xbox fans excited to have
Well, when you talk about passion, it's hard to find folks who are more passionate than the folks at id Software. So why don't we take a look at Marty Stratton and his amazing team at id Software.
Hi, I'm Marty Stratton, Studio Director at id Software. About a month ago, we celebrated our studio's 30th anniversary. It really is incredible to consider how much our industry has changed in those 30 years, and how many defining moments we've had the opportunity to be a part of. Wolfenstein 3D and Doom created and helped popularize the first-person shooter genre of games. Doom and Quake were among the first games to foster and build large-scale mod communities, as well as usher in multiplayer gaming. And our game engines have been at the heart of key advancements in technology licensing, 3D graphics acceleration, virtual reality, and game streaming. At any point in our studio's history, you could pull back the curtain and see a tight-knit group of people that thrive on pushing creative and technical boundaries, hard at work, building fun first games with a meticulous attention to detail and craftsmanship. We couldn't be prouder of our people, our games, and our relationship with players. When Bethesda purchased id back in 2009,
Stuart, yeah, I do. Again, unless there's some contract in the way, All this stuff
Although
is going
any
to come to
number of
Xbox
fundamental
first.
changes could have come from that, what was immediately apparent and hasn't changed in more than a decade is that Bethesda shared that same pride and care for our people, culture, games, and community. From the start, Robert Altman and the entire Bethesda team said, "We want you to be yourself and do what you do best." Then they backed that up with the resources, stability, and support to make it happen. Now, game development is complicated and challenging, so it wasn't always smooth and almost never easy.
Yeah, George, it's really
But there
looking like
simply
Starfield's going to be
wouldn't be a
exclusive.
reboot of Doom in 2016
Phil
or its
Spencer
sequel, Doom
pretty
Eternal,
much said
released
it
last year
at the
without
beginning.
Bethesda's unwavering faith in the team at id. And it started at the top with Robert. His investment in our people and studio was always personal and genuine. You couldn't help but want to make him and the rest of the company proud. Over the years, some of the most memorable and rewarding moments have come when that pride is also shared with an incredible community of gamers at our annual QuakeCon event here in Dallas. In 2014, we debuted our vision for a new Doom to an audience of 3,000 fans. And because that was so much fun, we did it again in 2018 with Doom Eternal. In both instances, the unbridled passion and enthusiasm for what we were doing has provided our team years of inspiration and motivation. As gamers, we see how important communities are to Xbox, so we can't wait for our new colleagues to experience their first QuakeCon. Since acquiring id, Bethesda has added a number of other incredible teams to their family of studios, several of which we've been fortunate to work with more intimately. In particular, our friends at MachineGames are close collaborators on id Tech and have done fantastic work with the most recent Wolfenstein games. We've experienced firsthand how valuable it is to share ideas, technology, and experience with our sister studios, and can't wait to now expand that relationship with Xbox. As we like to say at the studio, we're grateful for all that has come before, but driven by what's ahead. We couldn't be more excited to start this new chapter with Bethesda and Xbox.
You know, the thing about Doom and id that I think we like to talk about the history of the studio, which is amazing, but you can see it in Doom Eternal. There's no studio that sweats every pixel on screen of every frame the way id does. Like, it's just so clear. And
it's like you spent time with
highly
them.
doubt they're going to rush Starfield to market. If anything, now the fact that Halo's coming out this holiday,
and then when you think about their capability,
with COVID,
and I think
they're
about
take their
them
time.
collaborating
no
and
reason to
working
rush
and
it
talking
unless
with
it's
the
truly ready.
Coalition and 343, and just like the first-person shooter, third-person shooter space that we have, the studios that are there, I think just kind of an amazing capability. The other thing I get really excited about with id that we haven't really talked a lot about is the future of id Tech. And what could that mean inside of Xbox? Obviously, you know, we've got a ton of studios doing a bunch of different work. I love the way Marty talked about how they've collaborated with other Bethesda studios on id Tech. And I just think about that to the next level. Like, what can we do inside of our organization with id Tech, which is one of the world's best game engines out there, and just make it a tool that so many developers can use to realize their vision.
With id, it's amazing because we didn't just get this like incredible library of IP. We got all these amazing people who are so meticulous, as you can tell through their games, but we also inherited things like QuakeCon. And it's been very special for me to work at that event. And Marty mentioned, you know, showing off Doom 2016 to 3,000 people. I was there, and I can tell you that the excitement was off the charts.
It was religious. It was like a religious experience.
And the cool thing about that event and about the team is that those 3,000 people were the first people in the whole world to see the game.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't do some big media event. It was
Fans
like
first.
Fans first, and these are the kind of interactions that we like to have. They come to that show year after year, and so they were the people that we wanted to show it to first.
And Los, as you were saying, sort of that two-way conversation, it's also important to point out, we showed 3,000 people Doom 2016 for the first time. Not a single thing leaked from any one of them. We said, put your phones down, this is just for you, and every single one of them said, we get it, we love it, and we're totally on board. And like to be able to have a studio to extend that level of trust to a fan base and have the fan base reciprocate and say, hey, we're down. Like,
go back and work on a Fallout game
take screenshots or videos, or it's it's part of what I think makes all of this so special.
One of my favorite moments over the last 16 years, for sure.
For sure.
Great.
And you know, as we said, id Software was the first acquisition we made, but that sort of started the snowball pretty quickly. And shortly after that, we had MachineGames come on board, both of the studios at Arcane in Lyon and in Austin, and then Tango down in Japan was sort of 1, 2, 3 right afterwards. So let's talk a little bit about all of those studios coming on board and what they do, because, you know, Phil, you were just talking about shooters, which is something obviously id knows very much, but their tech and their work went across all of those studios I just mentioned. You know, MachineGames coming in and rebooting Wolfenstein, this iconic franchise was...
Yeah, because the New Order runs on id Tech, right? I mean, all...
Yeah. Everything MachineGames has done has run on id Tech, and MachineGames collaborating with them set a standard for collaboration among studios that they then did with Arcane. So it was really interesting to see all of these folks come in together and sort of grab onto what we had started to establish with BGS and then ZOS and then id Software.
Hello, I'm Jerk Gustafsson, executive producer at MachineGames. MachineGames just turned 10. And we are still amazed at the opportunities we've had to make our own unique style of games and the incredible community of players who enjoy them. When I think back to the earliest days of Bethesda, long before we became part of the family, I believe Bethesda's culture really began with the creative freedom and support for Bethesda game studios and the games they make. Robert Altman always understood the value of allowing creatives to be creative. That we in our studios are the owners of what we do, so we always feel deeply invested in everything we make. Of course, that comes with its own pressures, but from the very beginning we knew Bethesda would always have our backs. In fact, everyone here felt that trust instantly when we joined. And we were trusted to take Wolfenstein, this iconic and pioneering first-person franchise created by id Software, and give it a fresh start. We wanted to make it our own, while still maintaining that id Software DNA of fast-paced action shooters with a somewhat violent theme, but made with a sense of humor. As a huge fan of id Software and given their history with some of the most classic and best shooters in the world, it was very important for us to develop a Wolfenstein that brought that legacy forward. While the shooting part still is core to the experience, at MachineGames our focus is on the roller coaster ride, bringing together different parts and features to make the full experience something special. An important part of that is the storytelling, and we made our mark building a diverse cast of characters who surrounded our version of BJ Blazkowicz as he fought Nazis around the world.
You still got some Nazi fighting killing skills up in you?
How we laid out the plans for our first game, Wolfenstein: The New Order, is a memory very dear to me. We, the core team and the founders of MachineGames, got to spend 3 hot summer weeks in Mesquite, Texas at the id Software offices. Having access to the experience and the knowledge about the franchise that our friends over at id had was extremely valuable while we made our first iterations on the story and the structure of the game. I still considering it a career highlight that I, during that time, had my very own id Software email address. Since then, we have made several Wolfenstein games, and over the years, we have managed to build a rather close relationship with our sister studios. id Software, of course, but also Arcane Studios in Lyon, with whom we share a special relationship since we're both located in Europe. We share similar studio culture and overall development approach, which makes it really easy and also very fun to work together. We feel a connection to Tango in Tokyo as well, and we enjoy the opportunities we have to help each other out with development support and to learn and to share ideas with the other creative and talented world-class teams at Bethesda. And now, at this very moment, we are of course extremely excited about our work on the new Indiana Jones game in collaboration with Todd Howard, one of the greatest creative minds in gaming. It is a true privilege to be in this business, a business that is constantly evolving. And if I look back to when I started modding Quake,
thank you everybody that's been hanging out in the chat with me for this whole thing. This has been it's been fun to get this insight in here.
As fun
Definitely.
And rewarding as
like I said, don't expect any crazy big reveals,
Talking about it, we
no
actually have
Starfield or
a
anything
Quake
like
modding
that.
group
But it's been
that get
good to
together
get this
every
insight
Wednesday
about
evening
Xbox
here
and
at
Bethesda.
MachineGames, and it's so fun. And team building events like these really shows how passionate we still are about gaming, as high as it ever was. And I know that passion will be supported by Xbox in the same way that Bethesda has supported too. Thank you.
I'm Harvey
really
Smith,
looking forward to
studio director
Wolfenstein
and
3. Here we go,
co-creative director
Arcane.
at
I love
Arcane
freaking
Austin.
Arcane too, man.
Early on, when we were
Dishonored,
working on
so good.
Dishonored, we had these meetings in at Bethesda, you know, to sort of pitch what we had done, show off the most recent milestone. And there was a moment when one of the execs asked about some of the stranger elements that we had in it, sort of 1850s steampunk or gas lamp kind of stuff, and complimented it, really liked it. And we looked at each other at the time and said, you know, we've kind of been holding back. We love those elements too. We think they're what make the game really distinct. And the advice we were given wasn't be conservative or be safe. It was like double down on that. And so once we were given that green light, we just rolled hard into what people started calling the whale punk aesthetic of the game. The type of games that we work on, you know, they're a blend of first-person shooter and RPG. Not fully one or the other, but there's something distinct, something in the middle. We love simulated elements, from the AI to the physics to the player's powers and movement abilities, and the way those things can interact in manners that
Dishonored
we
is one of the most underrated games
the environmental
ever. If you've not
storytelling,
played it, absolutely.
the locations
it's on
that we
Game
put
Pass,
so much love and
both
lore
Dishonored
into.
and Dishonored 2 on Game Pass.
There are
Go
also
play them,
characters
please.
in all our
You'll love
games that
them.
are very important to us. Mindy Blanchard was an important character for us. We launched a game with Billy Lurk, which we were very proud to do. We love that character. Standing on the stage at the Bethesda showcase and announcing to the world Dishonored 2, and we rolled out Emily Caldwin as a protagonist for the first time, and it was just a super exciting moment. And the response we got from players, especially women who at the time didn't have as many representational avatars, all of that is just super important to us. It's not quite the same game that any other person would make, and to have the right partners that support us through that is just critical. And it's really the culture that Bethesda set up, that Robert Altman set up, that makes us feel safe to run in the directions we want to run in. So for us, being part of Xbox is very similar to when Arcane first joined with Bethesda. You know, it was like, hey, here's a partner we trust, here's a partner who wants to make good games, and it's just like, you can't do creative work unless you feel like somebody has your back, somebody's setting up the right environment for you. And at the end of the day, at the end of your career, it's not about, you know, which awards you won or how much money you made. It's really about those moments where the players tell you what it was like for them to experience a particular character or particular combat or a particular stealth moment.
I don't know what else you were expecting. Of course, this
about
was going to
how the
be
game
a
has
massive,
impacted them
as
in
you
their
say,
lives.
circle jerk, because they're celebrating. This is a
Our
big
goal
moment
is
for
just to
Xbox
keep
and
doing what
Bethesda.
we love and
They're
keep,
obviously very proud of
making
what
players
Bethesda
happy.
brings to the table, and that's what they're going to talk about. They weren't going to
Hi,
give any
I'm
big
Dinga
reveals today.
Nakaba, I'm game director at Arcane Lyon, and I believe I have a different perspective to share, because I joined Arcane after Bethesda acquired us. I joined a studio that I admired deeply because they made a very specific type of game that some call immersive sims. And I will admit, I was concerned. Would Bethesda allow Arcane to keep doing the kind of games we make?
Yeah, like, be excited for more games. That's what's happening. And if you subscribe to Game Pass, you just hit a freaking home run. That's the way I look at it.
And as you can see, the answer is yes. I quickly learned that Bethesda acquired Arcane because they believed in the kind of games we make. But now we had more means, we had more firepower. It was the opportunity to step up our game, basically. And yes, there was challenges, there was hard discussions, but it was always with the goal of making the best Arcane games possible. So I also remember our first Midwinter meeting. It's where the heads of studio gather together in Maryland. They present their current projects to the entire company. It's when I discovered Skyrim and Wolfenstein: The New Order, The Evil Within, Elder Scrolls Online, you know, and yes, Dishonored was there, and we were super proud of showcasing it. So my first thought was, wow, and the second one was to myself, we are not the exception here at Arcane. All these studios are doing exactly what they should be doing, each in their own way. And over the years, I've gone from admiration to actually working with those studios. We've collaborated with MachineGames several times, helping out on the new Colossus, co-developing Youngblood, which is nice because it was always a choice, not a demand. We made connections, we shared our mutual admiration, and it was an opportunity to learn from each other while supporting each other's artistic vision and goals. But I do have one major challenge that might only get worse as we join the Xbox family. I still get pretty starstruck around my peers. Like, for instance, I become extremely awkward when I talk with Todd Howard or Shinji Mikami-san, and maybe they cannot tell because I'm so French, but it's pretty bad. So, yeah, I just want to warn everyone at Xbox. Now I get to be weird and awkward with you all.
Hi, I'm Shinji Mikami from Tokyo Tango Game Works. 僕たち、単語のスタッフは、約10年前に、ここ東京で、若いスタッフを中心として、新しいゲームをどんどん作っていこう。そして新しい、クリエイターの人たちにチャンスを与えようというところでスタートを切りました。それからベセスタさんとは非常にいいリレーションシップを構築しながらここまで来ました。で、この度Xbox の人たちと一緒に仕事するっていうことで、今後どういう化学反応が起きるかっていうことに対して非常に僕たちはエキサイティングしています。今後の僕たちはまず僕たちクリエイターが面白いものを作る、でそしてそれ以上にお客さんの満足、高い満足をすごく重要視したゲーム作りをしていきたいと思っています。なんでよろしくお願いします。
Yes, I love
We
that
look
beard.
forward to join Xbox family. Thank you.
First of all, I just have to say it's so nice to see all their faces. I know it's on video, but I miss them all. I've had this unique privilege of being able to travel the world, to spend time with these studios, and I don't know if everyone knows that we have all these studios around the world, so it's...
And we have this interesting thing where we look for some sort of common DNA, I guess you would say, in terms of what they're about or what they're trying to do, but you can also tell in listening to these folks, like, well, in one video, you've got the guy who invented survival horror, some folks who took Wolfenstein, which had no dialogue, and suddenly it's got tons of story and character, and Arcane, what they do, like, it's that sort of being able to diversify while still having some sort of core DNA and some shared identities.
Yeah, definitely as you're watching all of the pieces, you feel some common threads that come out. One is trust and confidence. Robert's mentioned a lot the way that Bethesda supported teams to do new things. And we've said this in Xbox as we've been planning for this moment for so long. This is an opportunity for us to learn as an organization from a team that's done work incredibly well. You've worked with such a diverse set of studios, giving them a sense of confidence, and you heard the stories that allow them to go and try new creative things in different ways, not stay safe. Like, that's the goal as a platform holder, and the aspiration that we have. We don't need 15 games that are trying to do the same thing. We would like to try 30 different things across 15 different games. It's even more now when you think about all the studios. So I love just listening and learning from what you and the teams have built, and hearing the sense of confidence that the teams have of we can go try to do new things, we can go work with another partner that we have and learn from that. Really amazing work, and I just can't wait to learn more and more about how you've done that over the years.
Now, I do want to highlight one thing, which is we have 2 more studios that we haven't talked about yet, and there's a reason for that, which is, well, they're not working on games that we're ready to talk about, and they just acquired, but we need to mention our colleagues up in Wisconsin and in Nova Scotia as well.
Yes, so Roundhouse Studios joined us last year, and like Pete said, they're in Wisconsin. And then we also added another mobile studio to the family called Alpha Dog, and so we're not quite ready to talk about what they're up to.
Ooh, I like it. Teams working on secret projects. Come on, that's what everyone.
Plus, they have amazing hockey jerseys. Alpha Dog makes studio high. Well, they're in Nova Scotia, and they're amazing. They're the envy of everybody else.
Texas to Nova Scotia.
We cover everything.
Phil's ready, right? You ready to go to Nova Scotia? Phil?
I'm ready to go to Tokyo.
Okay.
Yeah, let me go see Tango, a studio that I just have such respect for the history of the creations there. I've talked for a long time about our desire to have more of a first-party presence in Japan. This is a great step there. So, I mean, just thinking about the map of where these teams are, and just talk about all the games they're working on, but I can't wait to spend more time with the Tango team and get to know them.
You may have forgotten about one important studio that we haven't heard from yet.
Oh, Bethesda Game Studios. You wanted to talk about them?
Yes, I know we had Todd here with us earlier, but Ashley also shared some messages with us about the studio there and their thoughts on this partnership.
Hi, I'm Ashley Chang, the Managing Director of Bethesda Game Studios.
Oh no, here goes the Starfield announcement. No, it's not. Don't hold your breath.
On behalf of the over 420 developers across all our studios in Montreal, Austin, Dallas, and Rockville, I'd like to thank the leadership team at Xbox and Microsoft for the warm welcome to the Xbox family. You know, when we started 20 years ago, we were like an indie rock band, a small team of around 40 developers, and we had the complete freedom to make the kinds of open-world role-playing games that we're known for today. This amazing studio that I'm privileged to work at is a testament to the leadership of our creative visionary and studio head, Todd Howard. It's also a credit to Robert Altman, who we will miss very much. Without his trust and support, we would not be the studio we are today. One of the reasons for our success, we've made a lot of games together. I believe the value of a team is the sum of the problems they've solved together. The more games shipped together, the stronger the team gets. After Morrowind, rather than immediately work on a direct sequel, Todd had a grand vision for what our studio could be. And we asked ZeniMax if we could spend the next 4 years to make our next game. As always, Robert and the rest of ZeniMax gave us the support and trust to accomplish that vision. The next game was Oblivion, and that was the start of an amazing industry-leading run, not just for us, but also for Bethesda and ZeniMax too. Today, the team working on Starfield have all worked on several open-world RPGs together. This shared experience and chemistry doesn't happen overnight. It takes a long time and is a lot of hard work. Our relationship with Xbox starts back at our indie rock days too. We were working on Morrowind and we weren't sure if anyone would want to play this kind of game on a console. But Xbox team said yes, and they were supportive from the start. They even did the disc layout for us, which is something we had no experience doing. Ever since, Xbox has been a great partner, always ready to help solve problems like figuring out how to optimize performance and push the hardware as much as we can, to pushing other boundaries like letting our modding community share full Skyrim and Fallout 4 mods on Xbox. Since Morrowind, we watched ZeniMax grow all around us. We grew too as a studio, and as more and more studios joined the family. We have worked with ZeniMax Online Studios from the start on the Elder Scrolls Online, a relationship that continues today. What they've accomplished with that game is remarkable and a huge inspiration to us. The spirit of mutual admiration and support has been an important part of ZeniMax across all the studios. We have all contributed in big and small ways to each other's games, and we continue to be each other's biggest fans. As we work on our next generation of games, we can think of no better place to be than here at Xbox. No matter how crazy the idea, the team at Xbox always says, yes, let's try it. On behalf of everyone at BGS, I want to thank everyone who played Morrowind back in the day, and every game we've made since. Sincerely, thank you for playing our games. We couldn't have done it without your support, and we hope you are excited to see all the great things we're working on for the future. Thank you.
So, Phil, as Ashley mentioned, obviously a big part of our relationship really is owed to the Morrowind product and us working with you all and saying, hey, we're going to stop doing just PC-only stuff and try this console thing and see how that works out.
You know, for me, as a player of your games, you've always challenged yourself. If I think about whether it's bringing a traditional PC genre to console the work you've done around VR, around streaming, around modding on console. Like, it's hard for us as a platform to think about the pushes that we've had from a publisher who said, we want to go try something. And at first, of course, we're defensive. Well, I don't know about that. Then we start to think and work together. So many of those innovations, not just for Xbox, but in the game industry, were born right here at Bethesda. And it's, I think about the path forward and that continued push for us to evolve our platform and service is going to be fantastic.
Well, and I think that's part of where some of that excitement comes from, right? Which is being a developer and having this kind of passion and even getting to work more closely hand in hand with the folks who are making those decisions, pushing those technologies, whether it's streaming or console power or whatever it is, that, you know, it is different when you're inside versus external. I mean,
one of the things Todd and I were actually talking about this morning was to be able to sit down with the teams here and go through our 10-year roadmap, which almost by definition is wrong, because we don't know what's going to happen 10 years from now, but we have an idea, like we have some plans, and to have that full disclosure with stuff that's just kind of crazy spaghetti on the wall ideas and stuff obviously that's sooner, that's a little more solid, hopefully, and to share that with you and get the feedback. I think Sarah did a good job talking about the fact that we used to always bring our console here first. We'd bring it under a shield of darkness, like, and then bring it, and then watch Todd give us kind of the thumbs up and thumbs down on the design of our console. You know, but that's feedback, because when you're inside of your own bubble, it's easy to believe what you've done. And we talk about these trust bubbles of everybody on the team and what we believe. You heard it in the pieces here of your studios have a trust bubble with themselves. They're willing to share stuff with their sibling studios and get that feedback. And to me, this just expanded the people that, smart people that we can talk to about the plans that we have that have a shared vision of where gaming's going.
All right, anything else? Did we cover all those?
I think so. I'm just incredibly excited for the future. I'm so happy that you took the time to come visit us here in Maryland. I look forward to learning from you, from working with you on this summer event that we've promised now. It's just, the future's exciting.
Well, we officially can start working together today, right? This is day one.
And, First meeting right after this.
And it's genuine. What Phil says, like, don't be shy. Give us the feedback. We want to learn from you guys as much as we can share back.
And I'm excited to meet even more players.
There is a lot of fans on our side that have grown up playing your games and huge fans of your games. So no shortage of love on our end.
Yeah, it's going to be a fantastic part.
Aaron, any final thoughts?
No, I just, listen, you know, I'm the marketing guy, so I'm just going to sort of say, listen, this is the start. So I would say that, you know, we haven't got everything figured out yet. We're now officially able to work together. I think what we've achieved between the teams, to have 20 games to be able to go in as a gift for fans to celebrate this moment is really special. That is a lot of work. So we're trying to get these up, and you know, a lot of these are older games that we're getting up and running on PC Game Pass and things like that. But I think it's a great gift for fans, and so I think we're really excited about that. You know, as Aaron said, you know, we're excited to go jointly work on stuff together as we think about big beats together. We think about all these studios under one umbrella. We talked about, you know, some of the greatest RPGs ever made, the greatest RPG creators now, all part of one team.
That's the one thing people need to take from
shooter
this.
tech, the greatest shooter franchises, all part of one team. And, you know, beyond that, the innovation and the creativity and the deep storytelling. And so it's just an incredible, incredible time to be an Xbox gamer and to be in this industry. And so I couldn't be more excited.
Same. Feel the same. Phil?
You know, I'll start, and I know this is something we're doing for everybody to watch, but I'd be remiss if I didn't start with the teams here and what a commitment we have, and I have personally, to building an environment and a culture where creators feel like they can absolutely do their best work. And that is something that's at our core. It's something that Robert and I talked a lot about leading into this, of how do we go create a world-class creative organization together, and kind of in his memory, I want to deliver on that. And I have a commitment to that, to the teams here. And the result of that for the millions of people who love playing games, who love what we're doing at Xbox, is that you're going to get an amazing set of games to go play. From genres across the board, as you said, Aaron, amazing detail, the concentration on the craft. And this is all about the mission that we have of the power of play, to unite people across the planet. 3 billion people playing video games, we want to ensure that anybody who wants to will be able to experience the great games that we're going to build together. Whether that's the technology that we're pushing on or business models to ensure that more people have access to the voices of different creators with different perspectives telling their stories on our platform. I'm just a fundamental believer in the power of video games to help bring this planet closer together, and I think it's a time when we need it, and I love what we're going to be able to do together here.
Perfectly said. We're so excited for this partnership and to get going. We've been chopping at the bit for a while, and can't wait. We got some really exciting stuff coming down the pipe. So thank all of you for joining us today. Thanks to everybody who tuned in to watch. We appreciate your time. We hope you enjoyed a little look at sort of who we are and what we're bringing to the table as Bethesda and Xbox come together in this amazing new partnership, and we can't wait to see what's next. So thank you all for joining us. Take care. Have a good night.
All right. That was it.
Signal detected.
Iris, what's happening? External camera 15. Camera 10.
That's just Xbox stuff there. All right.
Here. Send them in.
Go ahead and mute that there. Okay. So let's go ahead and talk about this really quick before we get out of here. First and foremost, I want to thank everyone that hung out here in the stream the entire time. But let's talk about this. So finally, I feel we got the answers that we wanted. Actually, let me start over. Let's do it this way. I'm happy to see what we just saw with Xbox and Bethesda. It was great to see Phil Spencer, Pete Hines, both Aarons, Todd Howard, Matt Booty, and all the different teams from Bethesda get the spotlight in that roundtable discussion, because that's what this is about. You know, I've obviously been talking since September about this acquisition and the whole $7.5 billion, what you spend it for, blah, 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 blah. You know, I do feel that Phil Spencer did answer the exclusivity question. Everyone can do with that as they will, but that's not what I care about. I don't care about that. The biggest thing here is Bethesda now coming under Xbox. I feel like it's going to allow all those studios to reach their full potential. And that's the great thing about this. They get to now just make amazing games. Let Microsoft and Xbox worry about all the overhead stuff. As gamers, we don't care about that. We just want amazing games. Yes, we did not get these big announcements for games today, but that's not what this event was about. It was about welcoming Bethesda into the Xbox family and what we can expect for the future. We do know that we're going to get some type of summer event. I would expect that's where you're going to start to see some of these bigger game reveals. But overall, for the future of gaming, I think this is an exciting time. You know, I talk a lot about Game Pass. We obviously see all the Bethesda titles that are going to come to Game Pass now. That's exciting as well if you're a subscriber to that service. But I just think the future, you know, you're seeing these services that Xbox is building, and now you're starting to see the culmination of acquiring a Bethesda and all the other acquisitions, all the titles that we can expect, not only on Xbox hardware, but we're going to get them on PC. We're going to get them streaming via xCloud on our mobile devices, on smart TV apps, things like that. That's what excites me, you know, as a gamer. I just want to play amazing games. I just want new and amazing experiences. And I think what Phil Spencer kind of highlighted at the very end about this is just going to allow not only Bethesda, but the other studio acquisitions to let them to express their creative freedoms, right? They get to make the games they want to make. They get to do the things that they want to do. And then they get the backing of a big company like Microsoft and Xbox behind them. So we don't have to worry about these games being rushed out. They can get the proper QA they need. They can get the proper polish that they need so that when we do get them, these can be the best games that we can possibly expect them to be. That's the hope in the future that I have for gaming. So yeah, very exciting news today with Bethesda. Like I said, really look forward to seeing what the next Wolfenstein is going to look like. Obviously, Starfield is going to be big for them. What is the future Fallout going to look like? Quake, Doom, Prey, Dishonored. I mean, start going down the list of games that Bethesda's working on, new IPs coming from Bethesda, even beyond Starfield. That's the exciting thing that I think people need to be looking at from this reveal. And again, I just thought it was great to see that, hey, they did use my idea that I talked about on XCast, and instead of dragging this out, they got out in front of it, went out to Bethesda, sat down and actually talked about what this collaboration and this partnership is going to look like. So I think as gamers, the future looks great. It's an exciting time. I can't wait till this summer gets here and we can find out more. So thank you all for checking this out. I really appreciate it. This is Paris, and I'm going to see you guys soon. Thank you for checking out this video.